Welcome to This Explainer. You know, every single human being is born into an ongoing game. From the very moment we open our eyes, society hands us a pre-written script. It usually goes like this. Go to school, get a steady job, trade your absolutely most sacred asset, your time, for a number on a digital screen. And then use that number to buy things that give you just a fleeting illusion of comfort and status. In our time together today, we are going to methodically deconstruct this invisible matrix of consumerism, and we will reveal the true pillars of personal sovereignty.
So we're handed the script to trade our time for digital numbers, but we rarely, if ever, pause to ask, who actually engineered this cycle? When we look at a modern city center, the endless crowds rushing to and fro, we have to realize that the 1% do not play this visible game. They deeply understand that money isn't just a tool to buy luxury, it's an invisible architectural force.
We spend 40 years running on a treadmill, literally never stopping to look up. Now, most people believe that poverty is simply a lack of cash, but you're about to discover a much deeper, much more uncomfortable truth. True poverty is a lack of sovereignty. If you earn $10,000 a month, but you have to spend every waking hour tolerating stress, disrespect, and fear just to keep that income, well, you aren't successful. You're simply a highly paid slave.
Section 1. The silent leak and the principle of velocity over balance.
Consider the grand illusion of the savings account. There's a really stark contrast between how the middle class worships static, decaying bank balances and how the elite worships velocity. The wealthy don't worship balances. They understand that money is energy, and energy absolutely must flow to survive. They don't save just to accumulate a bigger number. They save so they can deploy. You see, cash is essentially a melting ice cube. It's quietly eroded by the silent tax of inflation, which is basically an invisible predator engineered to consume your purchasing power while you sleep. The wealthy deploy every single dollar like a silent soldier, and those soldiers have one objective: to capture cash-flowing assets. It's time to stop building a vault for your dying currency, and instead build a system that multiplies it.
Section 2. The geometry of leverage and why sweat doesn't scale.
As we clear away the rubble of that saving myth, we arrive at a pretty brutal truth about hard work. Your physical capacity is strictly limited to 24 hours a day. Sweat just doesn't scale. And that means a business model relying entirely on your physical presence has a permanent, unbreakable ceiling. Think about it. If hard work were the absolute secret to wealth, laborers and clerks would be the richest people on earth.
True wealth requires stepping out of the labor market entirely and stepping into the asset market. When you shift your mindset from asking, how can I do this work, to asking, what asset can automate this problem, you cross a massive threshold. You move from linear limitation to infinite scale. Leverage is essentially the geometry of wealth. A true architect doesn't build a house with his own hands. He designs the framework that allows 100 hands to work effectively. We need to stop chasing the shadow of money and become the owner of the object that's casting it.
Section 3. Stoic finance and the practice of aggressive protection.
Once leverage actually increases your income, a very dangerous comfort trap emerges. When average people get a raise, they almost immediately inflate their lifestyle. And why? Usually for validation from a society they don't even truly respect. They take on bad debt for a bigger house or a faster car. They trade their hard-earned margin for chains, basically binding themselves to their desks for another decade.
But an unshakable mind practices aggressive protection with absolute quiet discipline. A truly high-value person keeps their expenses completely flat while their revenue grows. They quietly accumulate assets in the dark, without any need to showcase designer or brand names. They don't show off their wealth. They fiercely protect their silence.
True luxury is the ability to walk away from any situation, any deal, or any person with your peace of mind entirely intact. I want you to let that doctrine sink in. We are redefining wealth here, not as material excess, but as absolute freedom and uncompromised peace.
Section 4. The tax matrix and legal optimization.
To master the global financial rules that were written by asset owners, we first have to shed our illusions. The average professional pays the highest tax rates because they're using a system explicitly designed for workers. They pay taxes before they even have a chance to save. The wealthy, however, play by a completely different code. They understand that governments don't just want to collect taxes. They want to incentivize specific economic behaviors. By thinking like an institution and utilizing completely legal corporate frameworks and tax-deferred accounts, the wise drastically lower their liabilities, and they do this without needing a complex army of accountants. It's not about evasion, it's about education. If you don't understand these legal exemptions, like investing in real estate or creating jobs, you are voluntarily leaving your own freedom on the table.
Section 5. The sovereign mindset and building your legacy. We've traveled through inflation, leverage, and legal systems to finally reach the ultimate foundation of true prosperity. Because if you sacrifice your integrity, your health, or your family just to become rich, you've made the worst trade in human history. The architecture of freedom requires a foundation of absolute truth.
Financial independence is really just the baseline. When you align your financial systems with absolute honesty, profound patience, and true purpose, you build a fortress that time cannot decay. The real goals are entirely internal: a calm mind, a strong body, a soul entirely free of guilt. This is the true zenith of human achievement.
So, are you ready to build a life of genuine significance? I ask you to sit quietly with this question. Save this explainer to anchor yourself against the loud, empty noise of modern consumerism. Share it, but only with those rare, deep minds who are ready to build a fortress of their own. Thank you for walking this deep philosophical path with us today. Make sure to subscribe to remain on this profound journey. And until next time, protect your peace and build your sovereignty.